Welcome to the Advice Show, media with the common sense approach. So a lot of people been sending me this story about an aide that used to work with Richard Nixon. And you're speaking about the war on drugs. Now, this aide stated that this war on drugs was used to target black people. Now, we've been saying this forever, but we lie about everything. And this is really the proof of what we have been talking about. So let's go ahead and read what the aide had to say. So the man's name is John Ehrlichman, and he stated, you want to know what this was really about? He said the Nixon campaign in 1968 in the Nixon White House after they had two enemies, the anti-war left and black people. You understand what I'm saying? We knew we couldn't make it illegal to be either against the war or black, but getting the public to associate the hippies with marijuana and blacks with heroin, and then criminalizing both heavily, we could disrupt those communities. We could arrest their leaders, raid their homes, break up their meetings, and vilify them night after night on the evening news. Did we know we were lying about the drugs? Of course we did. Now, notice that he stated that they was going to use the mainstream media to vilify the white people, because that's what he's talking about, the white people who was against the war and black folks. Because you got to remember that Dr. King was speaking out against the war at one point in time as well. He was highly against it. So black people, of course, against the war. A lot of people were. You have your teenage kids being dragged all the way to Vietnam and fighting a politician's war. And America left there with their tail between their legs because it's a politician's war. All these wars are politician wars. Okay, continuing. How many people in our community have been destroyed? We've had generation of people locked up in prison. They are the reason why we have this single parenting epidemic that's exploded in the black community. You got to remember, you had police officers, FBI, and even CIA agents as former have stated they had put drugs in the black community, put crack cocaine in the black community. And because how many times did black people say, where the planes at that we have to bring this stuff in here? Where's the boats? No, it was put there, and then you ought to know it was targeting black people because black people is the one that came up with the way to make crack cocaine. And when they start giving black people more time for crack cocaine than powder cocaine, you should have knew what that was already about. These people have been doing this stuff to us for over 400 years. It's just another thing to add to our resume of programs done by the U.S. government against black people. You not only have slavery was sanctioned at one point in time, then you had the convict lease program, okay, which is what's going on today. Just another version of it. We'll explain it a little later. Then you had the sharecropping, which was like another form of slavery for black people. You had the black codes. You had the internment camps that black people was put in as well. But nobody talked about the internment camps that black people was put in. You don't say a word about that. We had Jim Crow. We had all the Ku Klux Klan and all the savages we had to deal with the Ku Klux Klan. We couldn't vote. We couldn't do a whole lot of stuff. Okay. Then we finally get out of there after the civil rights movement, and they craft a new way to put black people back on the plantation. They say, let's come up with this war on drugs because we got to have these black people ruining their lives, destroying their children, have them so dependent upon us that they can't do nothing for themselves. Always trying to destroy the black man and black woman in America. This is the truth. This stuff is documented. I'm not making this stuff up. It is very, very upsetting because these people have always targeted us. Always. These people have been instrumental in killing off our leaders and killing off our movements. It is the God's honest truth. And when black people talk about reparations, you know why? Because the things that happened to us were sanctioned by the government. That's why when black people talk about reparations, it's a good conversation. And last time I read, a study said black people in a form of reparations should be owed $14.2 trillion based upon their labor and what has happened over time. No other group in this country has have to worry about the things that we had to worry about. All these programs have been done. Medical experiments that was done to our men, women, and children with no anesthesia. Tuskegee experiment telling them you treating them for syphilis, and yet you sitting up there just cultivating it and see how they would die. All this stuff that's happened to us in this nation. And yet if we talk about it, well, you guys should forget about that stuff. It's not today, that same thing to protect, the status quo. You bring this stuff up. Because see, before we was talking about the war on drugs targeting us, first they deny it. Well, Show me the proof. Well, now you got the proof. Then after the denial, it's going to go to dismissing. Well, I didn't put nobody in jail. I don't know why they would do things like that. And then after dismissing, it's going to distract. Well, black people, they wouldn't commit crimes. They wouldn't be caught up on the war on drugs. Yeah, I've done stories on this channel. Well, you had cops planting crack on people. Floyd Dent was one of them. The cop was planting crack cocaine on Floyd Dent, and he would have been another victim to this war on drugs that's targeting black people. Another story I posted with his brother had a smoke shop. Dude coming there planting crack cocaine on the counter of his business and got locked up for crack cocaine. If he didn't have cameras, that brother would be locked up right now. Don't tell me nothing about how these people have treated us in this country. It's just more proof of this stuff. You know what they say, what's done in the dark will come to the light. It always has. We have been warning about this. And now what's happening is a lot of white kids are getting caught up with this war on drugs too. That's something that a lot of people not trying to discuss. And that's why they're talking about ending it. Because a lot of white kids can caught up with this crystal meth and heroin. And they throwing them in jail under this war on drugs. And now they talking about wanting to end it. But when it was just targeting black people, okay, it was fine. Keep locking them black people up. Keep letting them be slaves. Because your 13th Amendment approves slavery. Slavery was never ended in this country. This country has always made it off of slave labor. That's why your corporations go to Mexico and China and Taiwan, because they want to pay slave wages to everybody. They don't want to pay a good wage. That's the real problem that you got in this country. Still slavery. And if you can't get it from slave wages in Mexico, Taiwan, China, and everywhere else, you want to get it from prisoners that are locked up because you don't want to pay nothing. Because you've been greedy from the beginning. Because you was used to that free labor from the black man and black woman. This stuff just really upset me, but it's just the reality of what has happened in this country. And you wonder why things happen the way they happen in this country, why certain things can't be successful. Until you make things right, it's not going to ever be right. You can't sit there and target a group of people. Now, we'll bring all this to light, and you'll see justification for this. You'll say it'll be all kind of stuff. But you know what? We have been proven right once again. That's all we have to say. We've been proven right. So I want to hear how they're going to say something. And, Hillary's not going to end no war on drugs. Donald Trump's not going to end it. None of them going to end it. None of them. None of them even talking about ending it right now. It ain't nothing but a push to get that done. It hasn't worked. And yet, none of them are saying nothing about it. They're worrying about terrorists and what they got going on. But they can care less about that. As long as it's disenfranchising black people and we can make trillions of dollars off of black people, we're good. But if they start talking about that freedom stuff and really exposing us for what we got going on, yeah, we got to put a handle on that. It's just really sad. It is really sickening. It makes you sick to your stomach to know that because you're a certain skin color, everything is targeted against you, and you got the proof for it. You got the proof. Our town's been destroyed. We couldn't get patents on our inventions. All kind of things has happened to black people, and there's so much proof of that. But we should stop whining. But when other people talk about their pain, you don't tell them to stop whining. That's just the funny part about that, right? Check out the link in the description box to the studio we're building as one campaign. We're building a TV-ready studio, and we need help doing that. So make sure you check that campaign out. Read the description, and if you like to donate, please donate. No amount is too small. Definitely no amount is too big. And if you like to donate privately, you can donate at adviseshow.com. Click the donate tab. Hit me up in the comments, future commentaries. Subscribe.